to the Lezlie Show. We have a great show for you today. We have Leonard Champion. He is the chief of the fire department, and he's really interesting. We're going to be learning the ins and outs of the fire department, what it's like to be a fire chief, and all the things that happen to firemen. A lot of things that you don't even know. So stay tuned. It's going to be a really, really good show. All right. Take care and stay tuned. Hey, Leonard.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, welcome to the Lezlie Show.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, can you tell me what it's like being the fire chief of Santa Maria? Do you enjoy that job? Is it what it's all cracked up to be?
It's been very challenging. I've been in the position now for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this November. And I have a great command staff that is around me and supporting me, and a great department to lead. So it has been very rewarding and very challenging at the same time.
Well, how did you become the fire chief? I'm thinking that you probably started out as a fireman, right? And then you graduated up to being a fire chief?
Yeah, I was born and raised here in Santa Maria, so this is my hometown. I went to Rigetti High School, graduated in '87. My father was a reserve firefighter for 30 years, actually the longest standing reserve firefighter that we've had. And so that was my introduction into the fire service. And so I went through the Allen Hancock College Fire Academy, class of 43, and now they're up to, I believe, class of 142. So they've been moving along. And I got on the fire department full-time in 1993 and was an engineer, firefighter for 5 years, engineer for 6, a captain for 11 years, a battalion chief for a year, and then I'm in this position now.
Oh my goodness. Well, what do you need to do to be a fireman exactly? Do you have to pass a physical examination, or what's all involved, and how much schooling do you need?
The profession is very sought after. A lot of people want to be a firefighter. So the minimum requirements are not going to get you in. You need to actually do a little bit more. So what that means is you have to be 18 years old, you have to have a driver's license, you have to have graduated high school, been through an EMT academy, so a basic EMS medical training academy, and then been through a Firefighter 1 academy, like Allen Hancock College.
Okay.
Those are the basic requirements that allow you to just get an application in.
Oh.
So once you have gotten those minimums, things that will make you more attractive to an agency would be a bachelor's degree, your technical rescue training classes that are offered. There's about 10 of them that are offered throughout the state. If you have an advanced life support, like a paramedic license, that's another thing that would help you get on a department.
Okay. Now, are you in charge of just the Santa Maria area or Lompoc, or how many stations do you have? How many trucks do you have? And
Sure. So yes, the city of Santa Maria is our community and our area that we protect.
Okay.
And so the city boundaries, but we do go out and help our neighboring agencies. To the north is Nipomo, which is covered by CAL FIRE.
Okay.
And then to the south and rest of Santa Barbara County is the Santa Barbara County Fire Department. So anytime that we get so busy that we need assistance, we will ask and rely on Santa Barbara County or San Luis County to come in and help.
Okay.
And vice versa as well.
Okay. I'm thinking that you probably go out on the wildfires as well, correct?
Yes, we do. So the fire service does very well with helping each other out. And it's a system called the mutual aid system.
Okay.
And so when there's an event, and usually it's a large event where it overwhelms those local resources, they start reaching out and asking for help. And so in that agreement that we all have, when needed and called, we can come in and send our equipment and our personnel to go help. And we certainly have done that over the years, and most recently the car fire up in Shasta County.
Okay.
We had a crew up there for 14 days, and then that crew got rotated out, and we sent another crew, a fresh crew, to go up for another 14-day assignment.
Do you go out of the state as well, or do you usually stick right in California?
We can go out of state, but for the most part, we stay within California.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand that you guys did a lot of cleanup too in the Montecito area. Is that right?
Yes.
So if you could tell me or tell our audience what that's like, that must be
Yeah.
atrocious dealing with that.
Prior to the Mendocino complex just recently, the fire, the Thomas Fire, was California's largest wildland fire that they've experienced. And that was just in December, right? And then right after that, we had some storms that came through, and just the poor timing of everything. Everything lined up to where Montecito, in particular, got so much rain in a burned area that they ended up experiencing that mud debris flow. And so we did spend some resources and sent some resources down there to help as well.
Do they have enough people to help out with that, or do you need volunteers as well?
They actually predicted the possibility of an event happening with that storm coming in, and with the recent burns, the county decided to pre-deploy some resources. And so that's what we did. The day before, we sent our heavy rescue unit down there. They actually brought some resources up from Orange County as well, from the LA area, and which paid off, because later that night when that storm came through, they pulled off numerous rescues because they had those resources there and staged.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think is probably the most difficult situation about a problem like this?
I would say that most people understand what they're getting into when they choose firefighting as their profession, but still some of the things that we see and deal with are difficult. And so it's those things that kind of pile up over a 30-year career, and you just never know how people are going to react to it and handle it. And some deal with it very easily. Others, it manifests in symptoms that can affect their personal lives, their family, their sleep, their health, their emotional stability. And so that's a big concern, that when our firefighters go out and deal with these types of disasters and they see tragedy, it's how they internalize it. And so we're really trying to focus on addressing the health and well-being of our firefighters.
I was wondering about that. Do they see therapists, or what do they do for this? I would think it's like a post-traumatic stress disorder, seeing all that, right?
It's something that I think the fire service has been slow to get their head around, because you just picture a firefighter as being this rough, tough, burly person that can deal with anything.
Right.
And we really don't talk about our feelings, and we don't want to talk about how it affects you. You just think that you need to move on and go to the next call. But now we're starting to see that it's affecting firefighters, affecting people in a way that at times that people consider taking their life. So we are now focusing on that as a profession, to provide that help. So whenever we have a significant event, we bring in a peer support group that firefighters can reach out to. We do debriefings, and we provide services to deal with that if an individual is struggling. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the firemen are sleep deprived. Don't they work sometimes 24 hours in a row without any sleep?
So our work schedule is 24 hours at a time. So our crews come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. They do a pass-on with the previous crew. They do their equipment checks and work out and get into training and public outreach events. And during all of that, they can be called out on an incident. And so during that 24-hour period, we're running about 28 calls a day in the city. In fact, in 2017, just last year, we broke 10,000 calls.
And just in Santa Maria?
Just in Santa Maria. Yes, so sleep is an issue, and we try to do our best to make sure that we don't overwork our firefighters. We try to fill vacancies as best we can, so we're not constantly asking people to work overtime or force people to work. So it is an issue that it kind of comes with the territory, but we try to manage it.
I remember one time I saw in the news that all the firemen were out at the airport sleeping out on cots. I think it was at the airport, it was somewhere, and I thought, oh my gosh, they're probably not getting too good a sleep out there.
Especially when you're going out on these large campaign fires. You are working long days and getting very little sleep, and it's hard work. And so that all has to be monitored and watched to make sure that we're not pushing people too far, and yet still trying to provide a service and protect lives and protect property. So that might have been a situation where there was the air base, the airport supports firefighting operations, and those personnel just getting some rest.
Okay. And what about the smoke? Does that seem to bring on allergies for the firemen, or do they wear masks all the time? I always kind of worried about the smoke issue.
Yeah, at times you wish you could just do away with it, but unfortunately that's one of the things you have to deal with. And so we do have masks that you can wear, but you can imagine that when you're working maybe in 90-degree weather, 100-degree weather, and it's hot and you're working hard, and then you put a mask on and you're trying to breathe through that is difficult. Yeah. So it's one of the things that you manage. Carbon monoxide is an issue as well, so we have to make sure that we're watching out for our personnel, making sure we're looking for those symptoms. And if we start seeing that becoming an issue, that we get them to a clean air environment if we can.
So does the fireman generally retire at 55?
It varies, that depending on your age and when you started in the fire service, depending on the retirement system that organization is in, would dictate how long you have to work.
Okay.
So in our department, we have 3 different retirement systems. In 2012, the city engaged in trying to be a part of the pension reform that is occurring. And so you have people at various stages that can retire at different ages. But for the most part, to max out your retirement, you need to put in a full career, which is 30 years.
Okay. I was wondering too about the women. Now, are the women as strong as the men are? And I don't mean to be politically incorrect, but I do wonder about these things because there's a lot of heavy things out there to be lifted. And do the women need to pass the same exam as a man to become a firefighter? Yes,
there's a standardized test that anybody wanting to become a firefighter has to go through and take and successfully pass. And whether you're female or male, it doesn't matter. And over the years, I remember when I started, we had a captain, Captain Linda Glines.
I know Linda.
She was one of our captains, and she retired as a battalion chief. And we've had numerous females over the years.
Okay.
Some have come and gone. Right now, we have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine you need to be very strong.
Yes, usually the upper body strength is something that they need to focus on. I also help out with the Fire Academy at Allen Hancock College, and so I see a number of females come through there. And you'd be surprised, you could see there was this one Asian cadet who was very small in stature, and you didn't think that she would be able to do some of the tasks that were required. And one in particular would be the ladder, being able to throw these long ladders. And it's all about technique and will and drive. And she had all of that.
She did.
And so you showed her the techniques and how to overcome her stature, and she was able to do it. Now she works for LA County, or LA City, I believe, Fire. Yeah, so it can be done, and there are some success stories out there.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking you need to lift people up too, and you say there's a big man there. I mean, it's a lot of physical work, so I would think you need to be in very good shape.
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, part of our day is working out and staying in shape. And our department, our firefighters, do a pretty good job about eating healthy and staying fit. And a lot of them do whole body exercises, and they work out off duty, and they're eating better. They're not bringing in a box of donuts every morning like I remember when I first started. So it's nice to see that they're focusing on that, on their health and their well-being.
Do they exercise a couple hours a day, would you say?
We give them an hour in the morning, and then after their workout, then shower and get in uniform and continue on for the rest of their day. But some will take an opportunity in the evening to work out as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when my mother became ill, I would call thinking a paramedic would show up, and the fireman and the paramedic would show up. And I never really quite understood that, because I'm thinking, why not just have the paramedics come, but yet the firemen come too, so obviously you're trained with the medical aspects.
Yes.
Too. So what is the reason for the fire department and paramedics?
We get this question a lot.
I bet.
So all of our firefighters are trained to the basic life support level. And there's an advanced life support level, which is the paramedics. And for example, Santa Barbara County has an ALS program. So they have fire paramedics on their equipment. For the city of Santa Maria, we're concentrated a little bit better. Our stations are close together, our response times are quick, and AMR is the contract private company that provides the advanced life support, the paramedic service. But what we do is, because our stations are strategically placed very well throughout the city, we have quick response times, and we can provide that basic life support before we start seeing brain death occur.
Oh.
So during a cardiac arrest, all three of those firefighters are tasked with performing high-performance CPR. And so each one has a dedicated position and job to do, and there's nothing else that they can do. So the paramedic arrives on scene, and what they're able to do is do those advanced life support measures, like starting an IV, pushing heart drugs that'll stimulate the heart. They're able to get an intubated airway, so a permanent airway in, so that we can get oxygen to that patient.
Okay.
And so you have 5 individuals for somebody who's in cardiac arrest that are extremely busy. So if there was only 2, there wouldn't be enough personnel on scene to do all the things necessary to try and bring somebody back.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I always think a sense of humor is important, because I remember when my poor mother was having her issues, they'd kind of be joking around, but I thought, well, they need to, because you see so much terrible things. You see life and death, and I remember I even asked them before, how do you do your job? And they said, we laugh all the time. And they go, it's just a stress relief to be able to laugh at some of the stuff that we see, and we don't mean to be rude or anything, but that's how we deal with our stress.
Yeah, I would say that is very true in the fire service, and if you're a police officer, we always say it's your second family, because we spend so much time together and with one another, and we go through so much that you have to have that outlet. You have to have that humor. You have to see the good in any situation, and we have to be sensitive to who we're around and who we're with, and even who we're working with at times. So at times it may see that we're a little, we may look at a situation, we try to find humor at the right time.
Yeah, it is important though.
Yeah, I think our HR department would cringe if they heard some of the things that we laugh about and talk about, but we're very respectful. We are very sensitive to people's situations and lives, and we see a lot of life-changing events in people, and so we're there for them. We have very compassionate firefighters.
Absolutely.
I would say.
Well, do you have like a main call, like people call 11, 12 at night? Is it usually where you go to their house and they're having a heart attack, or what are some of the main emergencies?
Well, as far as timing-wise, it seems like as soon as you are cooking a meal or dinner, that's when you're going to get a call, right? When you sit down to eat your food, guaranteed a call is going to come in. But they vary at times of the day, and they can range from a medical call to a public assist, somebody who's fallen down on the ground and isn't necessarily injured, but they just need help up. And so we'll go out there for that. Or there's a strange smell in their house, or their smoke detector is alarming for an unknown reason.
Okay.
And so we run such a variety of calls that that's what's nice about the profession. You never know what you're going to go out on. You never know what you're going to deal with. But for the most part, I would say 60% of our calls are medically related.
Okay, that's what I would think. Is it mainly when they're medically, like your heart? Is that usually it, or?
They can range from people calling 911 because they have ankle pain,
Oh my.
toe pain, they all the way up to, you know, a diabetic emergency, difficulty breathing, respiratory arrest, anything in between. And so it at times can be frustrating because what we would define an emergency might be different from somebody else. But if you think about it and you try to sympathize or empathize with somebody, they may have never called 911 before in their life.
Right, right.
And at that particular time, they had something happen to them or to their family, and they don't know what to do. They don't have an answer. And so all they know is if they pick up 911, help will come. And so when our firefighters arrive, they try to have that understanding that this is an emergency to them, and we try to do our best to help them out.
I have some friends that are paramedics and firemen, and they tell me they would never, ever do any job but what they have because they love it. I guess it's very rewarding. They said, nope, I wouldn't do anything else in the whole wide world. And do you feel that way too? And if you do, what is your reason?
I think that is very true. Most firefighters who you talk to would say the same thing. And I haven't worked a day in my life, to be honest with you, because when I get up, it's a joy to come to work. I thoroughly love what I do. And that should be for any profession that somebody chooses. And the reason why I like it is because of the people I work with, the opportunity that we have to make a difference in somebody's life, the unique challenges that we face, the opportunities for growth. We have such a diverse profession that you wouldn't get burned out in any particular one thing, because the requirements for us are constantly changing. Basically, short of a law enforcement call, and even then, when you have somebody who's hurt or injured or battered, then we go with the police department as well.
Oh, you do?
Yes. So we'll go out and assist the police department routinely, and we train with them. We're training with them for active shooter incidents, and that's been something that we've been having to deal with in society. And so, yeah.
So you take care of the medical aspects when this arises?
Yes. Anytime that the police department is dealing with somebody who's been abused or domestic violence or a vehicle accident, anything like that, we're right there with them. Yeah.
And I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but Santa Maria has a lot of that compared to other cities. Is that true?
I would say we're about normal.
Oh, we're normal.
A few years ago, I think there was an uptick in some violence, but with the good leadership over at the police department and the support of the city, they were able to bring that under control.
Oh, that's good.
And so very encouraging. And so I would say we're no different than any other community.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys always get like new ladders and new equipment, new trucks too, or how does that work?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We just received brand new breathing apparatus. So when a firefighter goes into a structure fire, they have to wear a pack on their back with air. It's a 45-minute bottle filled with air. And we just got brand new masks and bottles and packs, so that's really great to provide that kind of equipment to our firefighters. And then we just received a brand new fire engine and a brand new ladder truck.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate to have received a $1 million grant for that ladder truck.
Oh.
Because equipment is not cheap.
I bet.
Yeah, by the time you outfit the apparatus with everything that needs to be put on it, that truck is worth about $1.5 million.
Oh my good, really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And we have a phenomenal grant writer on our staff. He's a captain. His name is Jim Clayton, and he's been doing grant writing for us for as long as I can remember. He was able to get us a grant for 2 fire stations, for apparatus, for our breathing apparatus, for our ladder truck. It's amazing what we've been able to do, which is a direct benefit to the city and the community. We're able to get the newest technology out there, safe equipment for our firefighters to work. And, at the end of the day, we're providing it all for the public.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we're just about ready to end the show. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we leave today?
I would just say this, that I've, again, born and raised here in this community and love what I do. And as I have moved into this position, I will say that I've received so much support from all the department heads in the city, from city council to the city manager, and they've been very supportive in helping me get my feet underneath me. And that's the kind of team environment that the city has provided, which is awesome to work in. And I feel very fortunate and blessed to do this, and looking forward to the challenges. They are fun and at times stressful, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it for the community and for our firefighters.
Okay, and one final note I'm going to add. I have a feeling you're going to be around for a while since you enjoy your job that much.
I do. And I'll have 26 years in this January, full-time. So technically I could retire in 3 to 4 years, but we'll see. If I'm still enjoying my job, I will be around.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for all you do for the community. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure our audience does too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And we have a great ride-along program that anybody in the community can participate in. So they can come out, hang out with a fire crew, an engine company for 4 hours and run calls and find out a little bit more about what firefighting is all about. And if somebody would like to be a firefighter, that's another great opportunity for them to come in and see, is this something that I want to pursue or not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lezlie.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Well, thanks for joining us today. And my final thought, as usual, is don't let anyone take your mojo. Have a great week.